right, so let's talk about Nvidia. Okay, so today it's a Thursday. Okay, it's about 3 hours after the market open, and we have to talk about Nvidia. Okay, full transparency right now, which is I currently have I think 86 or 84 shares of Nvidia across three different platforms. And of course, if you're not using my link down in the description box down below to get free stocks, do it now, right now. And of course, while you're down there, just subscribe to my channel and also drop a like for this video before we actually continue. Okay, good. All right, let's talk about Nvidia a little bit. Okay, Nvidia just came out with their earnings report yesterday, and it was bonkers. It was absolutely bonkers. Okay, everyone was expecting Nvidia to be reporting about $7 to $8 billion worth of revenue, and they came out whacking a huge whopping $11 billion worth of revenue. Okay, no one was actually expecting Nvidia to hit that hard, because just a week before the earnings dropped, everyone think that Nvidia was going to fail to meet expectations on earnings. There are even some bears of Nvidia saying that Nvidia is going to be reporting $4 billion or even $5 billion worth of revenue. So of course, they came up slapping hard, because only from their data center alone, they came up with a gross revenue of $15 billion on just the data center alone. Which is why it was absolutely bonkers to actually see Nvidia doing so well. But of course, again, before I actually continue from here on out, I am very, very bearish on the whole entire market as a whole. I do think that the recession hammer is going to be coming down anytime. Okay, we still have inflation at all-time high, effectively 5 or 6%. Okay, if you want to say that the all-time high was actually 9%, I don't really care, because prices have been going up. Disinflation happened, but deflation has not happened. Prices are still high. Okay, the debt ceiling, the credit ceiling, whatever you want to call it, the debt ceiling, the credit ceiling, the GOPs and the Democrats are still fighting for it. Of course, Kevin McCarthy have already said that, there is some level of an optimism that they are going to be coming up to a deal. Right now, no one really knows if a deal is going to be happening. If a deal do not actually come through, US is going to default on their loans. When that actually happened, bang, recession hammer. And thirdly, we have to talk about recession in general, because the election is going to be happening next year. There's going to be a lot of changes that's going to be happening. So these are basically just my own personal fear for the whole entire economy, which is why right now, kind of bearish. And let's not forget that we also have the Feds working against us, because even if the Feds were to pause rates, okay, that's the base case or even bull case for some of y'all out there. If the Feds were to pause rates, it simply means that we're still going to be at 5.25% of interest rates. It's not because they're going to pause and we're going to be pausing at 2%. They're not pausing when we're at 1%. They're pausing when we are at 5.25%. Okay, just because they're not raising rates does not mean that it is good for the market just yet. Okay, until we actually see a trend down of the interest rate, before we actually see a huge Fed pivot, I don't think that the economy is going to be liking this whole entire move for the next 1 to 2 years. Maybe. Okay? And of course, you can actually argue the fact that, housing prices are coming down a little bit. It was a lagging indicator. A lot of people are talking about it. Okay? How housing prices is a lagging indicator. I know. I talk about it every single time. Okay? But a lagging indicator on house prices is not the only thing. Okay? Because prices are still high. Your food prices are still high. Okay, shelter prices is still high. Energy prices, energy prices not really that high, but energy prices is still not low. Okay, like your window rails, your friggin' furnitures, all of them, they're all still high prices. We're not exactly seeing low prices just yet. Okay, so now to go back into Nvidia again. Okay, before I actually go into a whole different topic about how this whole thing is gonna go to nothing. Okay, let's talk about Nvidia. Okay, Nvidia is still a pretty good company. I do think that Nvidia is worth upwards of about $450 to about $500 per share. Of course, this is kind of like a short-term prediction in terms of in the next 1 to 2 years. I do think that if Nvidia were to actually show us more growth in the next two earnings, to actually show us a very, very sustainable growth from this earning to the next earning, and of course, I do think that Nvidia can easily become the next trillion-dollar stock. But of course, it's not that easy as well, because Nvidia do have a competitor, the competitor being AMD. However, a lot of people would want to say that, AMD wouldn't really be considered as a competitor, well, at least not that big of a competitor. But if you were to want to look at any other competitors out there, it's basically now. No one's going to be competing with Nvidia at the moment, because even if a new startup company or a new company out there that wants to get into the chip market, they have the design for it, they have the game plan for it, where they want to topple over the Nvidia empire, they can try to do so. But the whole and them actually getting into the supply chain of things, that's going to be the first challenge. Okay, and the second challenge is also for the people who are actually buying all these chips. Would they want to trust this brand new company A that's creating these chips? Or do I want to just trust Nvidia to be doing really good on those H100s? Of course, I'm going to be expecting huge companies like Amazon, like Google, like Apple, all of them to be using Nvidia a lot more than just a company A. And of course, you're going to have those black swan events where, a Tesla happened, where when there was a huge chip shortage happening, Tesla couldn't get any chips and they managed to make their own chips. So of course, you could say that an Elon effect might happen where Elon basically just making his own chip manufacturing company. That could be the case as well. But other than that, I don't really see Nvidia just getting thrown out of the whole entire rat race for the chip manufacturing side. So now let's talk about how this growth can actually be sustainable or not sustainable. Personally, I think it's quite sustainable, because this is where we actually get a little bit of a few vibes from back in 2021 and 2022, where we had the whole metaverse situation. So back in 2022 or 2021, whenever that was, when metaverse was a huge thing, when NFT, metaverse, whatever it is, all of that was a huge hype. It became a bubble because no one was able to generalize and utilize it as a whole. No one was actually able to properly create it into a product that can be used properly. Okay, even a company like Facebook changed their name to Meta Platforms in hopes to create a metaverse into a whole thing that didn't work out. The only reason why metaverse had such a huge initial hype was because of the coronavirus. The pandemic actually helped the whole entire metaverse pushed all the way up, because everyone was basically stuck at home. When people are stuck at home, you can only be on your computer, and when you're on your computer, we are trying to find alternative for you to work, for you to play, for you to meet people. Okay, and that's where metaverse kind of come in. But of course, somehow, somewhere across this 1 to 2 years, we are able to actually maneuver and navigate ourselves out of this whole entire pandemic, and well, the world is kind of recovering, sort of. Right now, we are going back to normalization all over again. So now, people are getting into AI because, we're able to see each other again. But now we realize that, what you could do or what I could do can actually be done by a artificial intelligence robot. Okay, we do not need packers. We do not need people to fly stuff. We don't need people to deliver. We don't need people to think, basically, because an AI can do everything for you. Okay, right now I'm writing emails with AI as well. Like, I'm replying to emails with AI. I'm debating with AI. I'm really, really closely. I think AI is basically my best friend at the moment. I'm using ChatGPT and I'm using Bard almost every single day. Okay, so AI is going to be a huge thing. I don't think that it's going to be that huge of a thing where AI will take over the world. I don't think that AI is going to be taking over the world just yet. Because until we actually get so much computing power to the point where we are having this much computing power in our hands, in our pockets, I don't think that computing power would actually change. I don't think AI is going to be changing the whole world just yet. Of course, it's going to be helping us do simpler tasks a lot simpler. They're going to help us with mundane tasks, and they're going to help us, ease our life a lot. Okay? But it's not going to completely change our life. And that's why I think that the sustainable growth for where AI is going to be is where Nvidia gets to grow. Because the thing is that for us to actually jump from a gap from where Nvidia is right now to where Nvidia should be, that means that where AI is going to be taking over the world, which is right here. Okay, this is a huge jump. Okay, we're talking about like 2 decades worth of technology advancing chips. So from every single year from here on out, what Nvidia is gonna probably be doing is just improving the chip, improving the computing power, improving the functionality of it, in hopes that that would actually help whatever that's going to be in our pockets, whatever that's going to be in our machines, whatever that we actually be using, help AI be stronger, be faster, and be smarter, for example. Okay, but the thing is that once we actually hit the point where AI is going to be taking over, that's kind of where Nvidia kind of is no longer needed, because once you actually hit that spot when AI kind of take over everything, AI is going to take over Nvidia anyway. So you basically have AI creating more chips rather than Nvidia creating chips themselves. So that's kind of where the growth kind of stagnate and kind of go back downwards, which is why I do think that Nvidia do have a lot more space to grow, because right now for us to actually reach where the maximum computing power is, actually there's still a huge gap for us to fill, which is why Nvidia, I still think there is a huge room to grow. Okay, but again, I do not want you guys to like misunderstand whatever I'm saying today as like, oh, I'm super duper bullish on the Nvidia, I'm super duper bullish on AI, I'm super duper bullish on the market. I'm not. Okay, I am bullish on Nvidia to a certain extent. I do think that people who think that Nvidia is a bubble at the moment, they are not exactly wrong either. Okay, you're not wrong to say that Nvidia is a bubble at the moment. Personally, I think it is not. But I could easily be wrong for that. Okay, which is why I do not want to say it with utter certainty. Okay, I'm not exactly bullish on AI just because I am using AI every single day, because it just helps me with my everyday task a lot more, and I find it helpful for myself. Okay, doesn't mean that I'm super duper bullish on AI. I'm not a big fan of AI stocks because I'm kind of worried where that would actually move, because AI can easily be taken over by someone else, and AI is not really copyrighted, which is why when ChatGPT came out, all the other AI companies kind of just jumped on the bandwagon and just took over what ChatGPT could have been doing, and took it over in like 3 months. Okay, it wasn't really that hard. Okay, you can basically copy the source code, you can copy whatever the AI has really been learning, and all that just basically become a huge FU to the actual people who are doing the R&D for the AI in the first place, which is why I'm not that bullish on AI as a whole. And of course, on the economy, I believe I've spent about a good 3 to 4 minutes talking about how I am not bullish on the economy. So yeah, I think that's all I have for Nvidia. I do think that it is a very, very interesting company. I do think that there is a lot of space and opportunity for Nvidia to grow. But of course, again, nothing that I say is financial advice. This is all just my opinion, and because I'm just a very, very bored person at home, having nothing to do, just staring at charts and also just watching the news. But anyway, that's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.